Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked.
Damn, none of these open. How about that one?
The final door sat in a corner in the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to...
Junpei!
Huh?
He spun around. There, at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running toward him. 3 of them.
June? Santa!
And 7. I don't mean to skip the voice lines. I just keep doing it accidentally. Gosh darn it. They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air.
Hey, what are you guys doing here? What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Hey, on the wall. A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck. So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7 and... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact...
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the Nonary game works.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again. I really feel like he knows about this game a little bit. Although, granted, his logic makes sense even if he didn't know about it. So, as he looked more closely, especially because earlier he was like, yeah, Zero wants to have, his fun as long as he can. So, yeah. I think that's all he really needed to say, but the way he phrased it, that's how the Nonary game works, is pretty suspicious. It's like, it sounds like he's played it before when he puts it like that, so. And Zero did say that some of them had played it before. As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go. Yeah.
What they see. And why are they all reacting like that? As one, they all moved back toward the door Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open.
Oh, I almost forgot. We should keep this.
Why are they not showing the player what all the characters are seeing? Come on. I'm not really fond of that, but it's probably a plot device or a suspense device or something. A hooky device, and it's working, because now I want to know what the hell that's about. He pulled the map of the ship's interior off the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map said they would be.
Back.
Yep, because there's still door 3.
In the hospital room.
That was a whole roundabout. Oh, boy.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
Whoa! Oh, he's back. Oh, thank fucking fuck. Come on, game. Stop doing this to me. When Ace took that shit, the game said it almost looked like he was dying. Fuck you, game. Because I thought that thematically was like, oh yeah, he's gotta die, because now we're gonna leave him behind. But thankfully, Ace is awake now. That's good. We're all actually still alive. That's amazing. I was expecting someone else to die by this point.
The 6 of you split into 2 teams.
Actually, wait, the 6. So there's 6
and 8.
of us. That's the 7th. What happened to the... Oh yeah, Snake disappeared too. I forgot about that. I feel bad that I did. But he also has always kind of made himself rather... Like, we haven't seen very much of Snake this whole game, if you think about it, which is a bit... And now we're not seeing any of him, because he fucked off somewhere, or something. I don't know what the hell happened. Did someone kill him and hide him? He could have fucked off somewhere. He might be fucking Zero, who knows?
You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory, and then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looked like anyone might after only just waking up, but it seemed his brain was working as well as ever. He managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
He shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
Aw. I love his little closed-eyed smile. I always am charmed by that sort of thing. Especially when characters you wouldn't expect to have that kind of cute expression do that. Just like this example here. Because normally you see that from cute girls, you know, and not very gruff old... I was about to say old men. He might not be quite old, but I'd say he's like 40s at least, though of course I don't know.
Anyway, I said we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room.
Ah! We also have another key. Oh god, are we gonna go all the way back to the first area? Or wait, hold on, where was that other door? Seven tossed something small and metallic toward Junpei.
Nice catch.
I love these characters. I'm afraid one of them's gonna die soon. Because, like, there's not very many doors left. There's like 3 doors left, or 4. And then also the 3 door that no one went through.
Jeez.
He caught it and found that the object was a key.
I see. So this is Jupiter.
On it, someone had engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. It looks more like it would be 24 smushed together to me. Because, like, it's a 2, and then there's the... Yeah, it's like a 2 and a 4 combined. He looked over to June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright?
Yeah, on it.
Junpei tucked the new key into his pocket.
So, how many unused keys do we have now?
There's the Earth key we found in the laboratory. The Saturn key card we found in the kitchen. And the Jupiter key you just gave me.
Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs...
Wait!
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time, except for us. Specifically, Junpei and Lotus. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
Well, there is if Snake's in there, and that's a problem. Because of the digital route.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover, and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh? Me?
Oh man, they're guilt-tripping him. Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. It looked like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Alright, let's get moving.
And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and 7 would discover what lay behind door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
I really am starting to feel like, just like she's been saying, she cares more than she lets on, but she's still mostly concerned with her own survival. And by the way, that thing is, like, even more precarious than her, like, boob wrap thing, than her, like, basically the bra she's wearing. Because, like, that thing looks like, literally, if it slipped any farther down, you'd fucking see her pussy and her ass. Like, look at that. Like, fucking, you can see her hips. Jesus. Literally, like, an inch farther, and you'd see everything. I'm sure that was on purpose by the artist, the freaking pervy artist. And frankly, I like it. I will not sit here and say not, and say that I don't.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
7 nodded as if this answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
door opened, and Ace, Clover, and 7 jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
Alright, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused.
Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
Yeah, Lotus is being a lot more amiable than I thought she would be. I like this break, because, you know, now things have kind of reconvened, and everyone's pretty hunky-dory right now. And I'm afraid that it's using this as a break before some bad shit's about to happen. Like, the worst shit in the whole game, except for, arguably, the gruesome death of the 9th man. They were at the end of the hallway, lined by individual hospital rooms. There it is.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
Alright, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole, just like he'd like to slide something into June right now. What? He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Of course there's a reason. Isn't there another door here? Either way, I'm gonna choose that.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled 2 things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant. Cards, keys, because only one of them's a card, but they're both keys. Oh well. June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So the 2 keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. Aw, so did Santa. Ah.
Alright, I got it. Let's get started then.
I love the wholesomeness, and now I'm scared. When is it gonna get unwholesome again? And how unwholesome is it gonna get?
What do you
Oh
say
boy.
we split into 2 teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you 2 can search Saturn, alright?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these, so don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Unless you can't, because it might lock behind you or something. I have a feeling something like that's gonna happen. We'll see. Plan decided the 2 teams split it up. I'm pretty sure splitted is not the right word there. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure split is just fine. I'm pretty sure split is grammatically correct. I don't know. It just splitted feels wrong. I'm not even sure splitted is a word. Junpei and June headed for the elevators.
There's a card reader next to the left elevator.
And granted, at the end of the day, splitted works there for, the meaning of the sentence, which is the most important thing. So, I guess it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I like my proper grammar. Especially because I feel like proper grammar is a dying fucking art. Especially the more that I use the internet. And the more everyone else gets used to the internet. I really just feel like, as time goes on, less and less people use proper grammar on the internet. Now granted, a lot of those people are probably foreign, but, a lot of them aren't. I know a lot of people that literally don't give a fuck if what they're typing is spelled right, or even if it's, not text speak at all. They don't capitalize, they don't spell right, they don't use proper punctuation. And also, spelling is kind of like a, oh my god, really thing, because you could look up the spelling of anything so easily. Using the same exact technology you're using to type something, but anyway.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
There was a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside-down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. I almost guarantee you that it's going to trap them, but we'll see. God, that elevator looks pretty damn spooky.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. He was about to set foot in, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? Junpei was probably afraid of... Oh my god, really? I really don't want to choose the wrong thing here. I might reload if I'm very bothered by what happens in regards to whatever I choose. She's afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower deck. Yeah, this is what I thought. It's a trap, basically. Just like a lot of the other rooms have been.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D-deck, is completely underwater.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Ah.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well,
It's okay. Okay, that was the right answer, I bet.
Tested.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C. All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. Oh, cool. The symbol on the door is neat. It kind of looks like a pentagram. That's a little bit foreboding. I'm not sure if it is a pentagram, though. I feel like it isn't.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
Okay, so it's E-deck, right? A few minutes later, the elevator returns. Okay, so it goes below D-deck to E-deck. So E isn't underwater? Hold the
Not a single drop of water to be
E?
seen.
How the fuck is E not underwater? Whoa! Is this actually in the ocean? Or is there some kind of staging to where it's supposed to look like it's in the ocean, but it's actually in some kind of place?
See?
That's like, I don't know. Jimmy couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. I saw that N as a P for a second. Am I going dyslexic? I swear this happens to me more and more often, too. It's weird. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'd like to know as well. It's obviously weird.
How can E-deck be safe if the D-deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E-deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been placed.
Ah!
Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
I see, that makes sense. Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
Oh god, that doesn't sound... That's... You're begging to be trapped down there, dude. Oh boy.
But...
Aw.
Come on, just do it, alright?
He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze and hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you!
Yep. And he doesn't have a choice because it's about to close.
Huh?
At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late. And then they had sex in the elevator. What?
Oh, crap. It closed.
The door had shut, and he and June were in the elevator, and it was headed down to E-Deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on E-Deck.
I can't just let you go alone,
Aw.
you know?
Ah, jeez.
Ah, gee. There's no, oh god, we're so close together, like, you know, thing. The elevator stopped and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. Also, like, if you were underwater, that, well, yeah, that'd be way different. There was, however, a wait, what? Or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought.
That's so cute.
Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously then. She's cute.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the
Oh,
ceiling...
jeez. Junpei thought about that for a moment and then decided never to again.
We'd probably die.
Oof.
Oh, no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Unless that's not possible.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening. He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
It looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
And it leads to door 6.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. You can obviously see the number from here. Why are they doing that? Anyway. Before long, they found themselves in the front of the door. Or it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door. But is it on, though? Yes.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
Well, we don't want to anyway, because we wanted to search this place in GTFO anyway.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Unless that's not possible! Junpei and June turned and headed to C-Deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the... Aha!
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me.
Okay, good. They were able to just go back
you
up.
guys found door 1.
I was so afraid that they would just trap them down there. But thankfully, no. This game tends to subvert my expectations. But a lot of games do. I tend to be a little bit more dense about some of this stuff, but I think I'm starting to understand. I never really tried to not be very dense, because I always thought that I was just stupid for a long time. And now I don't, and it's like I've unlocked this part of my brain that learns things easier, because I believe that I can. Because recently I've learned so many things that I can't deny that I can learn anymore. I think I had this idea that I couldn't learn very easily anything whatsoever for a long time, but I also knew, part of me knew that wasn't true, because the more I set myself to something, the easier it was to learn usually. They met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. So we'd found door 1 and 6, and the other 3 are hopefully getting through door 3 and are going to be able to make their way back to us. Apparently there was another numbered door on A-Deck, just like the one on E-Deck, beyond the door that the Earth Key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Yeah, even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large, pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Yep.
Just kidding. Alright.
God damn it. Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. Motherfucker. As much as she's hot to me, god damn it. Anyway, that's also kind of hot to me, help. Anyway, the moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you
Jeez.
guys go?
It was 7.
7?
Oh no. Did they lose Clover? Oh no, okay. Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, though she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, his voice was strained.
Snake
Whoa.
was...
Oh
Snake
god.
is-
So he was behind door 3 dead? 7 couldn't finish. He just looked away. His face was twisted by Junpei wasn't sure what. But how did Snake open the door? Did he get exploded? Oh, he went through the door by himself and got exploded, didn't he? Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
Yep. Oh, okay, yeah, he tried to go back. Wait, did he? He knew about that, right? Or did he? No. He had to have, like, surmised. No, he was the one that... He killed himself. What? Why would he do that? There's no way he didn't know, right? Or did someone push him? Man, I have all the questions. Welcome to this game, I guess. Oof. It was as if all the air had suddenly been You know, the sound in the music should start when he says it instead of when you advance the text. But, oh well. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
I don't wanna.
Right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
Not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned dead to look at 7. He's pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
How do you... Oh, it opens... Does the third one open that door?
Where is he?
The shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Like, this is kind of the wrong, like, time to say this, but I just have to say that, like, it feels odd that 7 was like, where the hell did you go? He knew they went exploring, didn't he? Or that he at least could have assumed that. But even if he did, you could chalk that up to panic of like, oh god, like maybe he saw 7 die, right? Or maybe, you know, he saw Snake, right? And then he came out and no one else was there, and he probably was like, oh god, did they all die too or something? Maybe it was something like that. It still seems kind of weird to me, but oh well. But still, he was panicking. You don't think clearly when you're like that. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall. I mean, I'm sure some kinds of people get used to seeing people dead, like, you know, soldiers in war, but yeah, you don't want to get used to that anyway. But anyway.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Ugh, even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. Man, I really am not looking forward to what Clover's gonna do now. She's gonna do something drastic and get herself killed or someone else killed, right? Like, there's no fucking way, right? A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost... It's his dead body, right? Because he's been dead since he disappeared, clearly, right? It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. Worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat, to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he?
Ugh. Wait a minute. They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. There's also L and LLR? Walk through the door. All we had to do was follow one of the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But...
Please, just do me a favor, okay?
Aw.
Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. Put his hand on her shoulder as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider. Felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Why are they so intent on confirming this? I honestly feel like in real life you wouldn't be. Although maybe you would, I don't know. But like, I really feel like this is just for the horror of it all. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered toward the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. Felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. Like, if it were me, I don't know. I haven't been in a situation like this, and I hope to never. I'm sure no one wants to be in a situation like this. Unless you're insane or something. Or really bored of life, and at that point you would be insane, I guess. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out like I'm not gonna read the rest of that sentence, because, oh my god, ugh. I'm not gonna read the rest of this, because, oh my god, ugh. Okay, yep, nope!
Just like he said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man, the detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
Yeah, I didn't even need to read that, because... Yeah, I'm not gonna skip dialogue, like I said. Yep, again. Okay, well, this isn't gore, so... His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
It's horrible.
Yeah, can't even tell who it is.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. And by the way, you can hear that in the voice line. She fucking nailed it. Awesome, man. This voice acting is fucking stellar, and I think it has to be for a game like this. A squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. Because selling the emotion in a story like this is so vital, or you couldn't take the story as seriously. And they're nailing it for the most part, I would say. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time, it put him on edge. It's putting me on edge now, especially after that. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. Yeah, no wonder. Poor Clover. It was Clover. Huggle. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the Ninth Man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. Wait, like being pushed in by someone? Yeah, that's what I thought. Either that or literal suicide, but like... There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door, and then 81 seconds after he was shoved in. That.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Yep. You can tell he's either a detective or a cop. I'm feeling more detective from this, especially because Japanese games love to put detectives in. Especially for a game like this. Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seemed shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
He can probably say it casually because it used to be his job. And by the way, on his head, isn't that like the Animal Crossing apple or something? It looks like an apple anyway. I'm not sure if it is.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it?
He might have pushed... Again, whoever the fuck Zero is might be a person on this ship who knows somewhere to hide. And so may have pushed him in himself or themselves. If Zero is one person, it also might be multiple people.
Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner. And those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes, that is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
I think Ace is right, but it could have happened.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes, almost certainly Zero himself.
But what if Ace did it? But why the fuck would he do it? But again, he very well could have that intention for some reason, regardless of how he is otherwise. And a lot of this chivalry might be an act from him. Who knows, man? But I don't know about that, especially since he was essentially prepared to die earlier. Either that, or he knew, maybe because he's Zero, or he's played the game before, that he wouldn't die there, that they would come back.
If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that, and we also have not seen Zero at all. Or at least as far as we know.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei, was Zero on the ship with them? It could all be remote, but that's gotta take some doing. I'm gonna say, of course. Of course he was. That was obvious.
But I don't...
Zero was somewhere on the ship, but... Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. Yeah, it was Clover. She looked at... Yeah, that's the second time they've referred to her like that. Oof, man. They're really heavy on the thematics with certain characters, right? And she looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think so.
Yep, it makes a lot of sense. Which would once again circle right back around to someone among us killed him. Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? Oh god, man, saying that. Oh boy. But is he? What is Zero here? We don't know. But maybe it does. Maybe that one just circles back around to no, yeah, he must be. Because a lot of those choices do that. Ugh. This is intense, Ming.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason.
No reason. I've got a great reason.
And what's that?
The bracelets.
He held out his left arm.
Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
You got a point.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the Nonary game. All of the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why's that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Jupiter let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. Man, that is compelling, but that could also mean he didn't need to be on the ship at all. He could set them on there, fuck off. But, like, why would he do that? Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of whatever the point of this is for him? Or would it? It may not. But still, well, I chose this line of logic, so that's where we're going. It was Santa who answered.
So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
7, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright then. I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right?
Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation.
So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero. Hence, Zero is one of us. 7 and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us.
No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives?
His motives?
Yes, isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us?
Oh, well, that's because,
Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that. And to be honest with himself, he had no idea.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed.
Well, so much for making a persuasive argument.
In other words, you only had circumstantial evidence.
I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know?
Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him and his disapproval. Their disapproval. I meant something else, anything else to look at. Then, in that horrible silence, I heard a bell begin to ring. Clock at the central staircase. Oh boy.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then we need to move now. 7, Clover, Junpei, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
You're right, but...
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. I have a feeling maybe he needs to trust them all. But maybe not. Maybe that would lead to a dead end. Literal dead, as in his death. Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say inside. 7 and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
Right. Here it is.
It sat bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen, between the two elevators. Ooh.
The Mercury card reader.
Funky bass, and that synth.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
Found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Yeah, that was not said before. Oh my god. At least I don't think it was, yeah. And why would they phrase it like that if they had said so before? Ooh. This might be my favorite song so far, but I'd have to listen to the whole soundtrack again to find a favorite, and I still may have trouble doing so. And this is really good music for writing. I definitely have a fic that I think tonally fits this game in a way. Something I'm writing that tonally fits this game in a way that I will, as soon as I finish this game, I'm going to use that as a reason to really go in on that thing I'm writing, because it fits tonally. I want to listen to the whole soundtrack while I write it, see if I have a feeling that's gonna be a good inspiration for me. Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do
Blah.
our best.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
Oh my god, cute.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Oh my god, cute.
Oh. First, we need to find out if the elevator comes up full of water.
Just like we did before.
Oh, here it is.
Man, honestly, part of me's thinking, June might be waiting for... What if June is Zero? Like, think about that for a second. She'd be in the perfect position to get away with being Zero. Ugh. Like, she could betray Junpei if she had to, if she felt like she did. Maybe she really has been trying to manipulate him this whole time. By the way, to avoid Danganronpa spoilers, I'll just say that the main reason I'm suspecting June right now is the first case of Danganronpa 1. If you know, you know. And this is a very similar setup to that, but it's been most of the game. So, I don't know if they'd pull that, but, well, so far I feel like Uchikoshi's... That's enough to pull something like that. Like, especially after, hey, we can't trust anyone, like, there's a lot more reason now. Like, oof, we'll see. I hope not, but we'll see.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped onto the elevator. So another elevator that goes down
Look.
to E, I think.
Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the C and bottom button can be pushed.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
So when it goes way even below E deck,
Yeah.
right?
Well, let's try it out.
Junpei hit the bottom button. Are they going to be trapped this time? Or closed. Slowly they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet away from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end.
Hey, over there.
This is a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found. There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. And now, door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
That means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Would be door 9.
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. I have a feeling he wants to kill them all in, like, the most cruel way possible. Zero, I mean. By, like, giving them all this hope and then none of them can end up going through door 9 or something. There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
Okay.
He did his best to put it from his mind and headed back to C deck with June.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 7 pieces.
The pieces of paper they folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's Everyone had written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Just double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
Why had they decided to vote that way?
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know. Hurry it up, Mr. I have a brilliant idea.
He decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. That would allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the pieces of paper.
Alright, let's open these up. The first one said, Ace requests door 1.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
He opened the second one.
Next is Santa. He wants door 6.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Hold on. Ace door 1, Santa door 6. Clover wants 1, so Clover and Ace 1. Lotus 2, 7 2, Santa 6.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
No, there'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
But
Just give it up, Lotus.
Which is kind of funny, because he was the one who initially said that he didn't want to deal with her, so if he's not objecting, then, you know, it just makes Lotus look immature, which I've also kind of gotten from her, and everyone else seems to think so. Either that or, like, she's just very quick to temper, for sure.
I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
Oh my god, you want to fucking die, dude? Jesus! Why does everyone keep pulling that card on her? Why do they keep just doing that? They know what happens at this point when they do that. Especially 7. Because he's already done it. But let's be fair here, the exhibitionist thing is pretty... come on. She's literally almost not covering every single lady part she's got, so like...
I am not an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
Barely.
Barely.
I didn't know he was gonna say that, that's funny.
So, last I checked, that's
Oh
not
my god, I'm fucking on 7's wavelength right now, that's great.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
Listen, I want to look at her, dude. And I don't think that that's about right.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you!
I fucking told you, man. Oh my god. Lucy's hair flared out like a mane of an angry lion, and she roared with a voice that shook the walls.
Let go of me! I'm killing him!
Jesus. Some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Right.
7, why did you do that? Like, you knew! Everyone knows at this point. Junpei should have done it earlier, either. Junpei tore his eyes away and looked... I think she honestly is self-conscious of her age, and that's why she shows her body off. Because it's like, I may be aging, but look, I have a hot body anyway. Honestly, I agree. It might be something like that, I don't know. But yeah, she clearly does not like being called that. And I think it's because she's self-conscious of her age. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes, I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
All the papers, save Junpei's, had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
This was the door on A deck, near the criminal staircase. The criminal staircase, the central staircase.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
This was the door on the bottom deck, and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship.
Santa and June requested door 6.
This was the door on E deck, and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
Then the door I should choose is...
Took him less than a second to run the numbers, because he has executive function. Better than mine, because it would take me a lot more than a second. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
And now I have to choose and make it very clear how many more seconds I'm gonna take. Oh god. And by seconds, I probably mean minutes. Especially if you count the saving part. Also, especially if you count the stuff I'm gonna edit out, because it's gonna be empty space, because now I'm gonna think. Oh, jeez!
Is door 1.
Okay, hold on. You can't... Yeah, the options button doesn't work in the novel, so you cannot use the calculator at that point. And I can't load, can I? You can't load this way. Well, if it's an option, then it's an option. If it ain't, then it ain't.
Hey, wait, you cheating?
Cheating?
I'm asking if you changed your number after you heard what doors we wanted.
How could I do that? I wrote it down.
Let me see that.
Sure, here.
So he did. I don't like that the protagonist does this, and we as the player, even though there's so many other choices in the game, don't have control over this. Maybe he does this because he doesn't trust everyone, because of what we chose earlier, so actually maybe we do choose that he does this.
I had 3
Yep.
pieces, and I put the one with door 6 on it into the pot. I just needed to make sure I drew last. After I saw everyone else's result, I just chose whatever door I wanted. If the number I'd already put in matched, then I didn't have to switch the paper out. Well, what does it say?
You got lucky.
Santa snorted to toss the paper aside, frustrated.
Very well. We've decided who will go through door 1. It will be Clover, Junpei, and myself.
Okay, so, wait, can he do all of them? This... Okay, well, either way, whoops.